Hi, my name is Joe Lyward. I'm here at Newlyn Art Gallery. I'm an illustrator and I make pictures that get used in all kinds of different ways and get printed for all kinds of different places. I usually make these pictures using a variety of different techniques, and this usually depends on how I want the finished image to feel after it's been made. If you're lucky enough to currently be attending the Newlyn School, you might be familiar with my artwork because I recently designed for you this Explore Level Arts Award booklet. And so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the process that I use to design and illustrate this booklet using paper cut technique. If you're doing the Arts Award, you can follow along the video and use the paper cut technique as one of your arts activities for part A of the award. And also, following this process could give you some idea of some of the things you need to think about when it comes to part C of the award and you create your own artwork. If you're not doing the Arts Award, you can still follow along and hopefully we can have a nice time making some paper cut artwork. Let's go. So the first part of the process for making these illustrations is to think of some inspiration or idea for how the illustrations are going to look. I realised before I even started that a lot of the artworks on display in Newlyn School feature places and animals, so I thought this would be a really good theme for the illustrations in the Arts Award book. So the most important part of my research was to just take really nice walks around Mounts Bay and Newlyn and just see what animals I could see. You soon realise there's a huge variety of different types of animals. We've got birds, fish, dolphins, and I even saw a seal bobbing its head up and down outside the art gallery here. So I'm starting to build a list in my mind of all the different animals I could illustrate. The other nice thing about doing these walks is that you can really pay attention and just look at things. You might see colours or shapes that could feed into the artwork you're making. It doesn't matter if they don't, because taking these walks and paying attention is just a really, really nice thing to do on their own. So the next step in the process for making the artwork is the planning step. And this is the most practical stage of making anything. There's a lot of things to think about, and especially if you're doing your Part C of the Arts Award, you'll have to document what it was that you did while preparing. So the first thing you want to do is create a space for working. I've got this brilliant big table here, but working on the floor is also great. Another thing you need to think about is the size of the thing you're going to work on. So when I'm doing an illustration, I find it really helps for me to know what the final thing is going to look like, so I can plan for this kind of size. You might want to do the same if you want to display your artwork on the kitchen cabinet. You'll know not to make it any bigger than the kitchen cabinet. The other thing that might decide what your size is going to be is how big your materials are. So you might plan to make a big one, so you need to find some big materials. Or you might have some materials that you want to use, and that will decide how big your thing is going to be for you. Speaking of materials, that'll be the next thing you need to get ready. So for the paper cut, you'll want some big sheets to work on. And that's going to be your background for the artwork. You also want to collect as many collage materials as you can find. Anything will do. And I'm also going to use just these plain pieces of paper to cut out from. And then finally, you want some scissors and some glue for cutting and sticking. The other thing to think about when you're planning is time. How long have you got to make an artwork? How long do you want to give yourself to make an artwork? It's really good if you can have time so that you're not in a rush, so you can relax and make things. But at the same time, sometimes doing something quickly or slowly will affect how the final artwork looks or feels. And one of the nice things about paper cut that we're going to do is that it's quite quick. so you don't have to give yourself too much time. So, like the materials, the space you have, the time you have, you can plan these and you can make decisions and changes to help you, or you can let these things decide for you and react to the materials and time and space that you have to make your artwork in. So when everything's ready, you can start making. But before we do, there's one thought I want to put into your head. I want you to believe that there's no such thing as a mistake. All there is instead are some opportunities for unexpected details. One of the nice things that I really like about paper cut is that the tools aren't very accurate. So it means we can be really open to these kinds of opportunities. Let's get going. To start off with, I'm going to take these collage things that I've collected, and we're going to do a little warm-up just to get our hands and our brains communicating well and to get used to being playful with pieces of paper. Any shapes, colors, textures that you have. You can even use paper, but you could also use leaves or anything that you can find for this stage. And this is just the kind of game, really. You can start by just making some simple compositions, seeing how colors react to each other. Or if you've got some shapes, you can start making things. A face is a really good thing to make if you're stuck for ideas. There we go. And it's just, like I said, just really about moving these around and thinking about what you can do. Here's our whale squirting its water out of the top. Maybe add on its tail here. There's no need to stick anything down at this point, just have a go and play. If you really like what you're doing, you can take a picture as a way to save what you're doing without having to stop. And then once you're getting used to this, you might start thinking about making your illustration based on the animals or whatever the theme is that you're deciding to make it on. So I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to use these colored sheets here. And let's start by cutting a dolphin. Every time you look at the sea, it looks differently. So I'm not too worried about changing the color of things. And here we are. You can see I'm just really simply cutting out this shape of the dolphin. Here's the tail and its fins. There's its head and its nose. Place that down. I'm not worried about any detail with this. I'm really just having to think about what's important. A dolphin has a nose, it has fins, and it has a tail. And I have those three things, so that's fine, that's enough. Using the scissors, like I said earlier, we can't have too much precision. We don't need to worry about the details. We can keep it nice and simple like this. And let's do another one. I remember seeing a boat that had this really beautiful lilac colour, so I'm going to go for that. Actually, I've got a piece here that's already got something cut out of it. So looking for those opportunities for unexpected details, I'm wondering if there's a way I could use this to start the next shape. Maybe that could be his tail, with the fin coming up. There's its fin, its head, its long nose, and there's a tiny bit there which could be a fin. I think maybe that's enough for me. So there we are. Oh, I've got two. Each time I finish, I'm just placing them down, not thinking about it too much, but you might find that there's some intuition to how you place things. Let's carry on. This time I'm going to make a bird. I'll just cut that out here, start that shape, take it round. It's almost like you're drawing with the scissors. So there's a duck sat there on the top of the water. Still not placing anything down with too much care at the moment, not gluing or sticking. Here's an old dolphin. I wonder if I can turn that into a bird just by cutting off a few details. Tiny head there with a little beak. That'll do. And then finally, let's have some shapes at the top. I'm going to put some clouds along the top here. It's getting dark. I have a big black cloud. And you can see I'm being careful not to catch my fingers, but otherwise I can be quite quick and just accept the outcome of the shapes that I get when I'm cutting. And I think one more. Down here. So as I've been cutting, I've been placing them down onto my piece of paper here. I haven't glued anything down yet, so if I'm not too sure about where things are, I can move them. Maybe I just want to change it completely. Much like we did in that first warm-up exercise, you can just use these kind of like toys and move them around and see if you prefer anything. But otherwise, you might find that how you had it as you went, you're happy with, and you can just keep it like that. So here we go. I've got this glue here. I can start sticking them down. Just a little bit of glue on the back. And try and get it where you had it before, but again, if it moves, that's fine. That's just part of the process. One more here. And keep going. Doesn't need much glue, it's just to hold it in place there. And we've got some clouds above us up in the sky, some birds sitting on the bottom of on the top of the water, and our dolphins swimming underneath them. Nice, simple, fun, colourful drawing picture of Mounts Bay and its animals, or some of them. With our dolphins swimming underneath, birds sat bobbing up and down on the water, and some clouds coming in off the ocean above. The reason I chose this technique when I wanted to design the Arts Award is because I think it's a technique that has so much opportunities for the materials to help you make the decisions, as you can have a lot of fun while you're making it, and it's really quick. And one of the things you might have also noticed is that I didn't use a pencil to draw out the outline first. I really just used the scissors on the paper and just let that flow, and just let your creativity make the shapes for you based on, you know, what you've seen, what you know inside, and what just feels fun or right at the time you're doing it. So I really hope you enjoy making the paper cut. I just want to say thank you for doing this, and I want to say thank you to Newlyn Art Gallery for asking me to share this with you. Have fun, bye.